Offensive tackles are more important than the rest of the players on the offensive line. In this ever-changing NFL world, they've become the prize sow amongst the hog mollies. Now hold on, wait, yes, guards and centers still do matter. Just not as much. Guards and centers block in a phone booth, while tackles, alleyways. When times get tough for a guard and they're struggling with an opponent across from them, too hot to handle, they can always run home to their mama, the center, for a double team. On the other hand, premier pass rushers proliferate the league, most especially, from the edge, providing tackles week in and week out with the toughest of challenges. Now, yes, tackles can also get double team help in the form of a running back or a tight end, but it's not the same thing. And offenses can rarely hope to remain productive if they have to consistently dedicate one extra blocker in pass protection at the expense of one extra receiver out there running routes. Outside of the limited protections and difficult assignments, tackles need to be more multifaceted than ever before. Capable both in the run and pass, while also mobile. Able to pull back across the scheme for a wham block, or quick enough to get out in front of a running back to plow the road. Back just a decade ago, right tackles had fewer requirements for the position than left tackles. As long as they could run block, provide some fire and finish to their game, that was good enough. Versus the left tackle who had to be a dancing bear. The value of both tackle positions and the paltry few options that are available that foot the bill on a yearly basis, either in the draft or free agency, usually means teams are giving up prime assets if they want to find good players for the positions. In this past 2022 draft, 3 tackles were taken in the top 10 picks alone. Teron Armstead, a great tackle, but highly injury prone, signed one of the bigger deals in free agency with the Dolphins. The Seahawks were forced to relearn the value of the tackle position when Russell Okung signed a free agent deal just after the 2015 season. The team shuffled through tackles for a year, looking for a viable option, only to finally make a trade for Dwayne Brown from Houston. Even after the Texans played some dirty tricks in that trade, forcing the Hawks to give up an extra pick, they still made the deal. Dwayne steadied the lilting left tackle ship for the Hawks, and strangely, the rest of the line settled down with his arrival too. The right tackle position during these same years for the Seahawks has been a frontline charge on a World War I battlefield. Spinal Tap drummers last longer. It seems at times it'd be easier for the Hawks to go in search of the Ark of the Covenant or the Holy Grail than finding their next right tackle. The position was not without a bright moment or two. George Fant came in for a season and played league average. The start of Brandon Shell's first year with the team was decent until injuries piled up on him. Why the right tackle position has been so meager is the absence of talent. The Hawks were trying to just get by. Sure, they did draft Jermaine Ifedi in the first round, but he was a terrible reach and never much improved through his time here. The poster boy for the run blockers only Coach Carroll outlook on drafting offensive linemen during this period. The position has been missing a true talent for longer than I can remember. Both tackle positions looked in the worst kind of peril as we headed into this past offseason. Both starters were due to be free agents, and for different reasons, the Hawks were uninterested in bringing either back. This put general manager John Schneider into a high degree of difficulty type situation. Get it wrong, and the offense could collapse next season. 1 bad tackle can wreck an offense. 2 is cataclysmic. And the pathway to finding either tackle position was clear as mud. 8 teams picked in front of the Hawks in the 2022 draft, some needing tackles. The free agent options, outside of Teron Armstead, were limited. The Hawks weren't going to pay the desperate rate the Dolphins forked over for Armstead, nor was it a guarantee he would even want to come to Seattle. As the options thinned, Schneider didn't blink or panic. He came out of the draft with a top 10 left tackle for the 2022 season with a future ceiling headed easily into the top 5 for years to come, Then Johnny came back into the third round and grabbed the best right tackle in this draft and a star in the making. And from here, the new Hawks house will be built. Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas have far surpassed expectations and are light years ahead in their development. Both were supposed to be pass protectors only and limited as hell as run blockers. Judgments were passed about the two, and questions were raised whether the spread college offenses both had come out of had potentially not maybe prepared them poorly for the NFL. Charles Cross was supposed to be too raw and too young to start his rookie year. Abraham Lucas had questions about the level of competition he went up against in the Pac-12. The two tackles have flashed every skill you could need for the position. They fit right into offensive coordinator Shane Waldron's requirements for mobile offensive linemen. Charles Cross's light feet in particular are very rare. Defenders just can't dip past him, and he mirrors pass rushers like a reflection. Abraham Lucas is large, arrives with bad intentions, and moves so easily for a man his size. The pair have opened up holes in the run game and kept Geno mostly clean, comfortable, and able to go through his reads in the pocket. And it's been no easy feat for either of these boys. Both of these tackles have gone up against the likes of Nick Bosa, Bradley Chubb, J.J. Watt, Randy Gregory, Cameron Jordan, Eric Armstead, Khalil Mack, Marcus Davenport, and three of the better pass rushers in this last draft in Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Arnold Ebiketie. Charles Cross has given up 4 sacks with the Seahawks passing nearly 55% of the time on the year. Abraham Lucas is eerily similar. He's also given up 4 sacks. And both players' pro football focus grades on the season are within a mere 3 points of each other. The Seahawks running backs are averaging 5.2 yards per carry. Both Lucas and Cross are aiding in that production. Lucas's finish in the run game in particular has been like stacked pancakes on a Sunday morning. These two will carry this line forward into this season's newfound hope, an on-door run of the team being elite for many years to come. They are only bound to improve, now and into the future. I looked through recent Super Bowl participants for a common thread that would show preeminently paired tackles do help their teams to that hallowed game. And there were quite a few examples and also exceptions. There were more examples in recent history of teams in the Super Bowl having 2 solid to great tackles than not. It's no guarantee of a Super Bowl run having 2, but it takes you miles further in that direction than not. One example in recent history crystallizes this point. The Chiefs went to the Super Bowl in 2020, getting Pro Bowl level of play out of left tackle Eric Fisher and right tackle Mitchell Schwartz. Schwartz suffered a major back injury and couldn't come back after that season. Then on their quest to repeat, Fisher went down in the AFC Championship game to an Achilles tear. The Chiefs played that Super Bowl down their 2 awesome tackles, and you could say, in a tight game, that was the difference between them winning or losing. The Chiefs came back the next year and redoubled their efforts to rebuild their offensive line from scratch in one offseason. They dumped significant resources into the position and took their lumps last year as the new unit gelled. This season, they're seeing the benefits from that, and it's part of what has locked them back into being an elite team. 2 Pro Bowl tackles on one offensive line can neutralize a team's greatest defensive threat. They can elevate the running back position by creating more holes, and in the modern NFL by also getting out into space. Tackles like these can significantly raise the performance of your quarterback. They can take a journeyman bust and give him ages in the pocket to slice and dice a secondary. Young quarterbacks need protections, and whomever the Seahawks draft after Geno Smith leaves will be kept clean in the pocket, will be put into a position to succeed. The Seahawks need to do more for the offensive line. A center is in dire need. The right guard position could be addressed as well. I think Damian Lewis is starting to settle in there at left guard as much as he can, playing out of position. But a few more additions to this offensive line, and you could have one of the truly great units in all of football. When they point back to this last Seahawks draft class as an all-timer, drafting 2 impact tackles is where they should begin. For as the running backs and middle linebackers and safeties have become devalued league-wide, the tackle stock has risen through the roof. The dividends from selecting Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross will echo years into the future and possibly, hopefully, help to take our Seattle Seahawks back to the Super Bowl once again. My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Hawks Nest. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. But beyond all that, don't you ever forget, go Hawks.